Imagine this. You're streaming a movie. It's a whodunit movie, and you're at the big scene at the end of the movie when all is revealed. Suddenly, you lose power and the video cuts off. Frustrating, right? Also very unexpected. And according to one study, that moment of violated expectation actually changes what's happening in your brain in a very interesting way. In 2021, researchers at Duke University and the University of Toronto observed that when your predictions are violated, the very same brain activity that would normally protect a memory instead makes it malleable. So your brain kind of has a rewrite button, and surprise is what presses it. You can find the reference information about this article in the description of the video. Alyssa Sinclair and her colleagues recruited participants to watch 70 short narrative videos. Things like a baseball batter swinging, a person opening a gift, everyday scenarios with clear expected endings. Participants watched each video twice on day one to build strong expectations. The next day, participants came back and watched the videos again, this time with an fMRI scanner that tracked their brain activity in real time. The second day, half the videos were interrupted right before the expected ending. So the batter in mid-swing, the gift half opened. So their predictions were violated. Then 24 hours later, participants took a detailed memory test about what they'd seen. The researchers tracked two things: correct details that the participants remembered, and false memories, details that they confidently recalled, that were actually wrong. During the interruption, participants were just staring at a blank screen, so nothing new was being shown to them. So any differences in brain activity couldn't be explained by what they were seeing, only by what they were expecting versus what actually happened. And the findings were definitely interesting. So first, the behavioral results. Surprise actually strengthened memories. Participants remembered more correct details about the videos that were interrupted. But, and this is key, after a 24-hour delay, those same interrupted videos also produced more false memories. The memories were stronger and more distorted. It was kind of interesting looking at what happened in the hippocampus. When videos ended as expected, a predictable pattern emerged. The more the hippocampus activated after the video, the fewer false memories participants had later. Strong hippocampal activity protected the memory. But after the surprising interruptions, the relationship reversed. More hippocampal activity after a surprising ending predicted more false memories, more memory updating. So the exact same neural signal that preserved memories in one condition rewrote them in another. So think about what this means. It's not that surprise triggers some special update circuit in your brain. It's that surprise changes the function of your existing memory circuit. The same hippocampal activation, the same neural machinery, but completely opposite effects on your memory. So the researchers also tracked moment-to-moment patterns of activity across the hippocampus as the videos played. And during normal video viewing, these patterns gradually stabilized. So the hippocampus settled into a sustained representation, generating predictions about what would come next. When the expected endings came, those patterns remained stable. When predictions were violated, the pattern shattered. The sustained representation broke apart. They found that the degree of pattern disruption predicted how much the memory would be updated. The more your brain's prediction machinery was disrupted, the more malleable your memory became. So you may ask, why should you care about hippocampal autocorrelation patterns? Because this research reveals something interesting about how we learn and change. Every significant update to your worldview, every time you realized a colleague wasn't who you thought they were, every time an assumption about your industry turned out to be wrong, every time feedback contradicted your self-image, your brain wasn't just adding new information, it was literally destabilizing existing mental frameworks to make room for revision. And this has some very practical implications for learning. If you want information to stick in its original form, make the learning experience predictable. But if you want people to update what they already believe, you need to violate their expectations first. This is why the most effective feedback often starts with something unexpected. How about for decision making? When you're surprised by an outcome, so for example, a project fails unexpectedly, a hire doesn't work out, or a market shifts, that's not just a moment to gather information. It's a window when your existing mental models are primed to be rewritten. The hours and days after surprise are when genuine belief change is the most possible. For leadership, when you need your team to genuinely change how they think about something, I don't mean just add a new fact, but restructure their understanding. Predictable presentations won't cut it. You need to create what researchers call prediction errors. You need to start with something that violates expectations. Now, I find something liberating about this research. We often beat ourselves up for being wrong, for having our predictions violated, for the discomfort we feel in surprise. But this study shows that surprise isn't a failure state. It's an update state. It's your brain's signal that your models need revision. And it's the neurological mechanism that makes that revision possible. The professionals who thrive in uncertainty aren't the ones who are never surprised. They're the ones who recognize surprise as information and who use that window of neuroplasticity to genuinely update their mental models rather than defending them. Your predictions will be wrong, and that's not a bad thing. That's how you upgrade. So the next time reality violates your expectations, remember, your hippocampus is just pressing the rewrite button. The question is, what are you going to write in that moment? Want to learn more about building your uncertainty intelligence? Well, then check out Certain About Uncertainty and visit certainaboutuncertainty.com.